The absent figure. I discreetly lifted up the old and rough brown rug to find our rusty house keys. With a flick of the wrist, I threw my old torn backpack and hurried into the kitchen, eager to eat after a long day at school. I wasn't surprised when I spotted a can of beans on the counter, just like every day. It was lying there alone, a perfect resemblance of how I felt. Coming home to nothing but a different can of food had become a routine I reluctantly grown accustomed to. Despite the repetitive disappointment, a tiny spark of hope still ignited within me every day, hoping to find my mom waiting at the table with a home-cooked meal after my tiring day. As I stared at the empty tray in front of me, I couldn't help but wonder if my mom even remembered what it felt like to sit down and share a meal together. Was her job really more important than spending time with her own daughter? Was it my mom who was truly missing out on mother-daughter memories? I sighed, the weight of disappointment settling in my chest as I reached for the can opener. The sound of metal cutting through the lid echoed in the empty kitchen. As I removed the lid, I cut my finger. But what stung the most wasn't the cut on my finger, but the ache of loneliness that seemed to pierce my heart with every beat as I realized how much I longed for a mother's comforting presence, soothing touch, and reassuring words. I had lost my appetite and decided to start my homework instead of procrastinating, as always. On my way to my room, I found that curiosity got the better of me when I tiptoed into my mom's room. It felt wrong to be in there, yet the room's lingering scent of my mom's cheap perfume offered a strange comfort. My mom never had a rule about entering her room, but I always assumed it was better not to and leave it reserved only for her. However, I took advantage of this moment and snooped around in her closet. Her worn-out clothes neatly folded in a pile in the corner on the floor. The absence of shelves was a bitter reminder of our financial struggles. Despite her relentless efforts and long hours at work, it seemed like all her hard work wasn't paying off. I began to search in the drawers next to her bed, feeling the cool metal handles beneath my fingers. I hoped to find some sign that my mother's life wasn't just an endless cycle of work. I had only found 2 pencils with bite marks engraved on them, a bad habit we have in common. I let out a long, heavy sigh. The flicker of hope that was once there had faded away. As I closed the final drawer, I saw the corner of a notebook peeking out from under my mom's pillow. I couldn't hold back the temptation and gently pulled it out to see what secrets it held. It was a plain black notebook. The cover revealed its age. It was torn and worn out, just like every other thing in this house. Every yellow page I turned was a drop from a well of sorrow, each one tracing a path down my cheek. My mom's writing were centered around 2 main topics, her job and me. I read the latest page out loud. The weight of the world seemed to rest upon my shoulders these days, and sometimes it feels like I'm failing in every direction. As I sit here, pen in hand, I can't help but think of the little moments I'm missing with my precious daughter. Today, as I left for work, I saw her sleepy eyes peeking out from underneath her blanket. It's these moments, the quiet ones before dawn, that break my heart. There are nights when I come home tired and drained and find her asleep, her dinner untouched on the table. Nights I lie awake haunted by the moments I missed, the milestones I'm not there to witness. There are times I promised to be there, to share stories, to cook meals together. Instead, she's left waiting, her young heart yearning for her mother's presence. I chose this job to provide for her. Every sacrifice I make is a step towards securing her future, a future where she never has to wish for anything. But sometimes I wonder if I'm sacrificing the very thing she needs the most, my time and undivided attention. I dream of the day when I can tuck her into bed at night, talk about her day at school, and simply be there, without the weight of work pulling me away. Until then, I hope she understands that everything I do for her. Every beat of my heart echoes with love for her. A lump formed in my throat, and suddenly the sound of our front door opening caught my attention. Confused by my mother's early return from work, I swiftly tucked the journal back where I found it and rushed downstairs. And for the first time in 3 years, I ran to my mother and gave her a hug. Sobbing in her shoulders, I knew I had the best mom I could ever ask for.